Hello everybody and welcome back to the Rodea the Sky Soldier playthrough. It's time for chapter 13, Rylus aboard the airship, which is a bit of a weird chapter if I'm honest. Like, very weird. Because we're actually going to end up beginning with a boss fight and then having a level after it, which just feels odd to me anyway.
This one is Unit R2. Rylus.
This one?
Rylus. This one talks, you listen.
Huh?
In other words, do as this one says.
Just talk normal.
You want her back? Then give this one the key of time.
Key of time? I don't know what you're...
Ha! Didn't she give it to you? Or have you forgotten that too?
She gave it to me?
Please take this half of the key of time.
Now, give this one the key.
You... Give me back Ion!
And now we begin our fight against Rylus. He's pretty simple, really. Just treat him exactly as you did Orthos, and you'll be fine. To be honest, I would say that this fight is kind of a bit easier. And, I mean, the only reason I say that is because you're already kind of flying about in the air, so you're not too worried about flying into walls, because you've got a very specific thing to kind of keep your focus on. Now there is the frustration of his laser beams, but as you can see, even when you get hit by them, it's not that much of a problem.
This one waited 1,000 years for this moment. You will accomplish this one.
Rodea!
Let go, R0. Look at your arm. Breaking it will be easy. Sorry, Rylus. But Ion made this arm for me.
What?
She followed her gut instinct to make it. Meaning, it looks shabby, but it's incredibly strong!
Rodea.
A good mechanic. This one envies you. With all his heart.
Rylus! Rylus!
Rodea! Thank you!
Hey!
Thank you, Rodea! Thank you so much!
This time, I'll protect you. I mean it.
This time?
Why did I say this time? Oh well. At least everyone's safe.
So that's the key of time?
Yeah, I had it with me all along.
It must be really important.
It was given to me to keep safe. It's a very important promise.
So, yes, we had a whole bunch of plots in that boss fight, and now we have a level after it, which confuses the hell out of me.
Chronos Tower is just past this cave.
But, oh well. And once again we get another instance of the game's rather poor audio balancing?
I was worried too.
Because, like, the music's so loud, and yet the voices are so quiet. It's quite frankly bizarre. Also, that was just such a stupid move on my part. No, I'll say, thankfully, this particular kind of level's not too long. I mean, it would be a little bit cruel if they had you face down a boss fight and give you a really long level to do after it. But it's a little bit challenging because you're going to be doing lots of flying over lava.
Be careful near the walls with lava on.
And, yeah, this is rather dangerous. I'm pretty sure that if you fall into the lava, that will be a death. Well, a miss, as the game calls it.
We're sorry for ever doubting you.
But, yeah, you've got to be so careful, because the only way of getting across these areas is to use the kind of balls that are kind of flying out of the lava, and it's just rather fraught. And also, you can't hit the walls, because if you hit the walls, then yeah, that's going to hurt a lot. So it's all a case of making sure that you are very tight on your attacks and how you're kind of going about your arcs. Which, I mean, I suppose by this point in the game you should be used to making sure that your arcs are not sending you flying into things, but sometimes you can get caught off guard, like I did there, by the ceiling that was off screen, because that's so kind of you, game.
We can keep going now.
And I have no idea who built these blocks, why they are here, why they kind of keep flying into the lava or what, but oh well. Also, if you're wondering why we kept getting flung back, it's because there's actually fans at the end of this, so they're kind of trying to bring the whole wind at you, but, well, do strong winds inside a cave, but thankfully it's not too horrendous in the grand scheme of things. What is horrendous is that particular camera angle, although that said, it does allow you to obviously see that legacy medal and therefore fly back to catch it. Because, I mean, that could have ended so badly. It really could have done. And I think we're going to end up with another instance of it here, where we just get flung and it's just like, ah, I can't see. How do you expect me to move when I can't see? But we're okay now. And if you attack there, we've got a gun. So now we can actually, you know, progress. But yeah, we are kind of building up to what is my favourite boss fight in the game, which is going to be at the end of this part, and I am so excited. Because, I mean, I really do love the boss fight at the end of World 3. Because it's just so damn awesome.
We're finally out.
And there's another instance of the kind of chapter just seems to just cut off, just really arbitrarily. And I'm going to keep coming back to it because, I mean, it's one of the only things that I've really got to talk about. But the chapter kind of parameters really do just seem a little bit rushed.
Got it.
And I have no idea what happened. But it does just mean that some chapters just feel way, way, way too short for their own good. Thankfully this one feels a bit lengthier, and that's because, I mean, it is lengthier. But it's still only going to be about 10 minutes. Nothing particularly phenomenal in length, though we are going to have a few rather humorous, shall we say, situations that are going to occur, if my memory is serving me correctly with what happened on this level. I ended up doing some really stupid things. But actually, I think this is the first instance of when we're flying and we've got a gun and we kind of have to try and shoot crystals to get some gravitons. It's quite cool. Sometimes, because the camera is pointing the wrong way when you're flying, that can mean that it's a little bit easier said than done. But it's not too bad. Now, this is a slightly frustrating bit, actually, because once you kind of attack these lighthouses, or I mean, even get caught by them, but to effectively attack them, you are going to kind of get caught in the light. They will send these kind of homing enemies at you. Who, it's weird, like I think if you try kind of shooting at all, they tend to just react really weirdly. But thankfully, this is going to be a really simple legacy medal. Like, I mean, just look at that. That was just wonderful. I'm quite happy with that bonus room. Compared to what some of the others are, it's just like, ugh. But yeah, if you do, like, boost attacks, it seems, they attack you. So, you've just got to be so careful. And kind of as you destroy more, you'll get even more of these things trying to kind of get to you. So you have got to be so careful during this section. Thankfully, it's not too hard. So you shouldn't worry too much. It's just a case of just keep your eye on the ball. Try avoid using boost attacks if you can. Just because you're putting yourself at risk in doing so. And also sometimes they will cause it so that you can't actually fly. It's like you kind of get stuck to the ground, and I mean those instances are rather frustrating. But they do seem to be rare enough that it's not the most horrendous thing they possibly could have done. But this is our final lighthouse, and there is our final keycard, so we can actually progress! Oh yes!
Yes, I got all.
But I think, yes, I spotted a bonus room, so let's do that, although looking at that, my brain's going, oh god. Because this is, I think, an instance of one where it's... Oh! Well, that was a hell of a lot easier than I was expecting, because there are at least a few either that we've already done or that are going to turn up later on, where you've got to fall through areas with the sliding purple force fields, and they are deadly. And I was so lucky to find that legacy medal right there. I mean, the thing is that if you explore, then you are kind of going to be able to find so much stuff, and it's going to be really easy to get all the legacy medals as long as you kind of take your time. But the game really prefers you to go at a kind of reasonable pace, so you get the most joy out of it, I suppose, when you're just kind of soaring through the air and just kind of flying constantly. If you are in a situation where you're just going really slow, then while you can get by and through places just fine, there is just a bit of the beauty sapped out of the game, and I mean that is, in essence, the primary flaw of what Kadokawa did to Rodea. They made the game slow. And Rodea is not a game that you want to be slow. Now, this is the bit I was remembering. So, obviously, purple force field, incredibly dangerous. There is a block there which is going to kind of be our route through this block, well, through this thing. We have got to make sure that we don't get hit by the purple force fields. Unfortunately, I am pretty sure that I am just... Oh. Yeah, so I tried to correct my position, because I thought I'm going to get hit by that force field. And in trying to get out of the position I was in and into kind of a new one, I got hit by the force field that I was trying to avoid, which is just so wonderfully typical, I would say. But if you kind of get onto the side and just hang, if you're in the middle, you won't get hit. And whatever you do, don't do what I did and try and right yourself, just kind of ride it out. And you will be safe. But once you're through there, the end of the level is pretty much in sight. You've just got to kind of get all the way to the bottom and you're very nearly there. So essentially, if I recall correctly, this is just a gauntlet. One of the villains, perhaps? Or, you know, the machines coming to attack you. So yes, this is just a very, very simple gauntlet. And Rodea is quite right, it's completely fine. You really shouldn't be too threatened by this. None of the enemies that you're going to face are of the particularly horrendous variety. Because, I mean, for example, you're not going to be faced with the worms, because obviously there's nothing for them to pop out of, and it's such a small area that they're not going to be able to kind of charge at you. These flying guys really don't pose much of a threat. I mean, they really don't. And because it's a smaller area, they're really not going to pose a threat. And it's done. That was how simple that gauntlet was. Now I'm just going to pick up a few little extras, because I see them and I want them. I mean, I think there's an extra life, which is just there actually. So, 30 lives already. This is going quite well. I don't think we're going to hit 50. I'd be very impressed if we did. But if I recall correctly, this is actually the end of the level. Oh, not quite. Still have a little bit to go. It's my brain taking me back to volcanoes under the blazing skies. Because that was an instance where you got out of the volcano, well, got to the volcano, flew around it, and then the chapter was over. But, yeah. Now, wind. And I think I'm going to potentially get screwed over. Oh, thank God for that. I thought I was going to get just completely destroyed. But it didn't happen, so we are good. But, like, as much as I love this gauntlet, it does get you into quite a few bits of trouble every now and again. Because it's so easy to let go of the A button and therefore kind of launch the damn thing, that Rodea will sometimes just be flying every which way possible, and you're just like, just chill, Rodea. Just chill. It's okay. You can just go slow. I'm not going to hate you for it. But then it does things like that, and you're just like, oh, it's so cool! So, it swings in roundabouts, really. And this is a particularly easy puzzle. Well, it's not even a puzzle. We are going to face a puzzle using those things, but even then it's not particularly horrendous. It's just a case of getting your positioning correct before you engage. But there we go! Chapter over! And it's nearly time for my favourite boss fight in the game. So exciting.
I've never seen it so close. Such evil darkness.
I'm not scared.
What the heck is that?
I'm so scared. Oh my. Here, hold my hand.
Can I also hold your hand?
Sure. Rodea, promise me?
Yeah, I'll be back.
I have to say that went, like, ranking-wise, that went a hell of a lot better than I was expecting. Because like I was thinking, oh, it's going to be a C, definitely going to be a C, but no. But here we go. Chapter 15, and my favourite boss in the game. Zolendark, the Crimson Steel Beast. And just... oh! Now, it's another instance of the game really heavily aping Shadows of the Colossus, because I'm pretty sure that game also has a bird boss on it, where you've got to kind of cling to the bird, really. Like, you kind of get onto it, and then you've got to stay on it. And this is very similar. I mean, it also reminds me quite a lot of the Sandbird in Super Mario Sunshine, but in boss form. But the reason I love this fight so much is because, for starters, the music is glorious, but also it just feels so epic because kind of the enemy's flying around, you're flying around, you're kind of grappling in the air, and then you got that and you're kind of dodging out the way, and it's just really, really awesome. And I think because it also has quite a lot of health, because it has so many points to kind of damage, it just ends up working far better than any of the other fights in the game. I mean, also, it's a challenge. Like, the problem with Dio Gordon was that he was just too gosh darn easy. And when you had Behelmus, who was the snake one, he was not too horrendous either. But this is just sort of... there's just something about this particular boss that just works so well. I think also the kind of flaming background helps because it just feels epic. The only frustrating thing that I do have is that I'm pretty sure that in terms of the time it's taking me to beat Zolendark here, I'm only going to get a B, when on my original run of Rodea I managed to get, I think it was an A rank. Also, I was just like, ah! I'm gonna fly into the blooming lava! I didn't realise I could go under the level. I don't know whether it will hurt you, but I just thought, just avoid it, for the love of God. Yes, we're nearly there. Just got to get this final hit in. And there we go. Zolendark is defeated. I will miss you, Zolendark. You were just so cool.
That's how it's done.
And that is indeed how it's done. And I think, yeah, that was a B rank, which is unfortunate, but oh well.
Rodea, you're so amazing! See? Isn't he the greatest?
I'll say. You sure are the real deal, Rodea.
There we go. Anyway, see you in World 4.